Back everyone to our weekend edition of commodities, and this is where we do analysis on natural gas, oil, US dollar, gold, and silver. We're looking at their support and resistance levels as well as chart patterns and momentum, and the most likely scenario where price is going to head to for later next week. And if you guys are looking for the stock market update video, we did the MEG 7s, Bitcoin, as well as QQ and S&P 500 and dark pool data. Check out the video from yesterday, and let's get started on natural gas. All right, huge bull move here. We've been a bull since this breakout here for us, and so most of you bulls are pretty happy in terms of NatGas. We talked about this right after it broke this 4.2 resistance and confirming a daily uptrend. Bulls have not looked back as of still haven't really looked back. That being said, we are a little bit extended, right? We broke this tightening range bull as well and got a lot of follow through. But we are showing signs of climax volume here, right? After a significant move from the lows, a 53% move, right? Which is insane. And that's been what? October 17th to December 5th. So about 2 months, right? Give or take 1.5 move in 53%. So now the question is this potentially the top, right? We got this climax volume coming in after a 53% move. It potentially is going to be the first. This is pretty much the first sign that it may signal a top here. That being said, even though if it's a top, doesn't mean it's going to be like this, game over, right? It's not going to just roll over like that. It could, but we have to see signs of that first. So what the bulls want to see here, I'll zoom in a little bit here, right? Huge move up, and we give back a little bit of it, right? So what the bear's first step is, right? This is a 15-minute move, which is creating enough space. We can confirm the 15-minute downtrend here. Okay, that just shows that this momentum is fading. And then after that, we got to zoom out to the higher time frames to give us potentially 4-hour downtrends. If they can confirm 4-hour downtrend, okay, this was that kind of blow off top look that we got here, right? And then what we want to see from the bears is pretty much give back this entire Friday's move, right? But for the bulls, if you guys, even if they give back all the Friday's move and they bounce around this $5 mark and they start just going sideways like this, consolidate, then it's perfectly fine. That just shows another form of this, right? Great move, right? This is a 22% move from here to here, and then bulls consolidate sideways. It's another idea here, right? From here to here, it's another 25% move. If bulls can consolidate sideways in tightening range, this was pretty much a picture perfect tightening range, bull break, then bulls are okay. So it could be a temporary top, right? But it doesn't mean it's the top. Is pretty much what I'm saying here. So be cautious of that. If you are a bear, yeah, we're a little bit oversold. Overbought, but overbought can stay overbought. What I like to do in NatGas is not try to nail bottoms and tops and wait for the trend to change, right? Beautiful uptrend here. After a breakout, right, just follow the trend. And then after it tops out, we don't catch tops because we don't know where it is, right? Then we get this big move down, create enough space. Now we're in a downtrend. Then you can just get in here, right? After it breaks all these supports, this 5.5, prior resistance becomes support, break down from here with a daily downtrend. Then you get in, right? And then you can play for this entire move down. Because commodities usually is a very trending names, especially in NatGas, in both directions. And we're currently still in an uptrend, so it's tough to fight the trend. Let's just say that way, right? Let's just say, for example, if this is like, let's just say is right here, hypothetically speaking, right? Next thing you know, you start shorting, right? And we pull back, you're like, okay, I nailed the top, right? And then boom, you get another face ripping 20% in the opposite direction of you. So that could always happen, right? So yeah, just wait for the trend to change if you're trying to play the opposite direction. If we keep on going, which could potentially be a possibility. We literally just tick the, so this top is pretty much just coming into this structure, the low of this structure here, right? Prior resistance knocking support, and this whole structure's low is pretty much this top. So it's a bit tough. We'll have to see if the bulls can actually come back and retest it here early next week, or they decide to just, this ended up being the top and they kind of just consolidate, and we'll see how it goes. This chart looks a little bit different than mine. Make sure to click this adjusted for contract gaps so it won't look different, right? So there's no all these gaps in your charts. All right, if you guys got any questions, comment below, and or just DM me those questions. And feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I do these videos every weekend. And let's continue with oil. All right, oil here. Looks like it wants to break out our tightening range. Resistance, 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 resistance. And yeah, it doesn't really look like a breakout to me. Right, support, 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 support. And it's starting to, but we literally just hit the next level of resistance and kind of just slow down there. Right, this $60.3 mark is pretty much, right, these lows, all these lows here. Essentially, it's pretty much the kind of like the gateway back into the structure above us. So if it can't really, right, break above us, $60 mark is not really going to go back into this structure. And this is not what you want to see when you get a bull break out of a tightening range that's been forming for like 6 months, right? This thing has been like chopping within this tightening range for 6 months, and then we get this tinky move. Let's zoom in to see what it looked like. Yeah, it's like a double rejection here on the 15 minutes. So let's just see where this 15-minute tightening range breaks. If this tightening range breaks bull back above $60 mark, then okay, maybe we're getting some follow through on this monthly tightening range bull break. But then you really need to get over this 60.4, right, to come back up. We get over 60.4, then we're looking back up to this thick volume resistance here, right? Like how much volume here. That's why it's pretty much all these volume traded here, right? This whole cluster of thick volume here. So if we can get over 60, then our chances of coming back up to potentially 61.5 and 62.5 is on the table here. And that would coincide with this big 6-month tightening range bull break. What the bears want to see is reject pretty much right there, $60 mark, and this would be a fail bull break, and then all the bulls' hopes are gone, and then we come back to test pretty much this low again around this 58. Or what they can do is bull break. So just kidding, right? Hit these lows. The next set level of resistance, 61.5, and then roll back. That'll be a fail bull break again. All right. If you guys want to learn more about technical analysis and the nuance and psychology of technical analysis, check out the Patreon link for memberships and or support the channel. Let's continue with US dollar. So US dollar here finally broke our trend line here on the bear side, right? Been bouncing off of here every single time for the past 3 months. And it's been a beautiful uptrend, right? Higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. Except this time, I talked about this last week, saying this is the first time in the chart that we have seen higher lows, higher highs, but this time no higher high. So this is the first time bulls did not make a new high here. So that was the first red flag, right? Doesn't mean it's game over. It could just be like this and then we go, right? But that was the first red flags in the shift of the chart, right? We look for patterns. We're not looking for just because it's a head and shoulder is gonna, break down or whatever it is, right? We look for what the chart is telling us, right? The chart is telling us a story essentially, And this was the first time we've seen dollar bulls now making a new higher high after setting a higher low here. And it's still okay right, up to next week. Last week it was still okay as long as we hold here and then bounce. This could become an ascending triangle, right, with higher highs and higher lows. But then once this broke, it was pretty much game over, especially when it broke this pivot. Once this pivot breaks, the uptrend is gone, and now we're back to a neutral trend. So now bears have a lot of space, right? This entire move. You can argue this is a higher low, lower high and lower low, daily downtrend here. The same pivot here, but it's not as clear. Ideally, you want the next candle to be higher than the other one, and then kind of goes lower. But yeah, so bears have their trend now in their favor, and let's see if it continues. But even though they have this move down, we've got to zoom out to the weekly charts. Sorry, monthly charts. So monthly now here, right? We're in a monthly consolidation, essentially, is what it is. Right, we have been going out 1, 2, 3 months, and now this is the first month that's pulling back a little bit. So it's still healthy on the monthly chart, right? It's not, we retrace pretty much 38.2% of it. So it could still be a bull flag on the monthly chart if bulls essentially hold this exact low here. If they don't, if they start giving back a lot of it, right? If we start retracing over 50% of this move, then this could just become a longer term monthly bear flag here. Right, if we start giving back most of these gains, then this is just a bear flag going sideways, flagging. So that would be a red flag. Okay, we barely bounced. We bounced just shy of maybe like 30%, right? 30%, 29-ish here. So still definitely still a monthly bear flag at the moment. So ideally, to negate this bear flag, bulls hold these levels, bounce from here, and then confirm monthly uptrend back to this 101 mark. Then you guys can negate that this monthly bear flag look. All right, let's look at silver and gold. So silver is still relative strength. Talked about silver being relative strength for a while now. It's exactly what you want to see. The main guy, gold going a little bit sideways. Alts, essentially, it's just kind of like an analogy, right? Bitcoin going sideways, altcoin going parabolic. So yeah, so it looks good. Well, silver is gold is a little bit. I don't want to say it's like slowing down, right? This could just be a sideways consolidation after 4 days of move, and next thing you know, it's a bull break, bull flag breakout, right? So what would be a red flag is this breaks down, coming into here, this structure, and it doesn't hold that support, and then we go straight into the structure, right? Into this 4040 zone. Essentially, no red flags as long as it's holding above, right? Previous structures. Insane move up, breaks down a little bit, right? Consolidates, healthy pullback, builds a structure, breakout. Now it's building a structure above the structure, right? See how this high, these highs are pretty much these lows, right? It's building a structure above this structure. So that's healthy for bulls. So no red flags. Now we're just kind of building a structure here. So the initial first sign of red flag would be if this structure breaks down, right? We come into here, and then we get a weak bounce, and then it rolls over into this structure, right? Then we are now beneath 2 structures. But at the moment, no signs of that yet. They get a little bit of a like selling here, right? Upper wick here, a little bit of resistance at 42.91 zone. But if it continues to go sideways, it's no big deal. We're just consolidating for longer term, which gold really likes to do. Make big moves and then consolidate sideways for a month or 2, and then make big moves again. And meanwhile, gold's doing that. you just want to see, gold continue to go sideways and silver make these big moves, breaking out over and over. Right, you can see these forwards stay up and then relative strength, right? You can see 2 point, so we're up 4% here, and while gold is up 0.6, and the next day we're up 6, gold is up 1.25. So that is huge relative strength. We also broke this resistance as well to new all-time highs, and even on the day of the pullback, right? It's not that big, even though it's a lot bigger than gold. Gold gave back pretty much. Gold gave back pretty much Monday and Friday's gains, while silver barely give back even this little blip, right? So still relative strength. Yeah, on all-time highs. I've been talking about this. Don't short it when it's at all-time highs. Just follow the trend, especially with commodities. It's always tough to buy, right? You could have said it's so hard to buy right here. But next thing you know, we are 22% higher, right? So yeah, just look for a setup. Whichever way the trend is trending, look for the setup with the trend, regardless of how low it is or how high it is, how extended it is. It can always go more extended, more than any one of us can think sometimes, because just the way it is. That being said, we are a little bit overbought, right? Especially on the higher time frames on the weekly, but weekly can stay overbought whenever it wants. Right? It's not like silver is going to be overvalued, right? It's not like it's a company or anything. It could just keep on going if it wants. It's just the demand, supply and demand. If there's a lot of demand, this thing is going to continue to go, just like gold, right? Could have said it was way too extended at 3,500 when we made this 52% move up, right? Could have been like, oh, this is it. This is the top. When we dropped 9% here, right? People could have been, oh, that's the top. We're gonna tank. Next thing you know, we are up another like 35%. So it's one of those things. Follow the trend, especially the longer time frame trends. But yeah, no resistance still, right? All-time highs. Really no resistance. Bull flagging here at the moment. See if we get more follow through. What would be a red flag as we start breaking back down below here, where we broke out from, around this 54 mark? Let's say we come up here and then failed, and then we break back below here. That would be the red flag. That would mean this potentially is the move is like likely over, right? This would be also head and shoulders if that happens. That'll be a failed breakout. All right, that's all for you guys. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and have a great rest of you guys this weekend. And it's always appreciated. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions or DM me any questions, or join the free Discord room and ask me questions there. Links are all below in the comments. And take care.